Hello, my fabulous friends. It's Friday. And we had sunshine this morning, and the wind has thankfully calmed down. But we have gray and clouds coming in. But that's okay, because I learned in my garden this morning that my lupin is blooming, which is one of my favorite flowers, and the tulips are getting ready to bloom, and the hyacinth is growing, and the baby birds are growing, and there are sure signs of spring just about everywhere I look, including the gray, gloomy skies on this first day of May, because that's often what we get at this time of year here in Wisconsin. And I am anxious to get out there and dig in my garden. And if the weather allows this weekend, I will at least start cleaning it up a little. It's far too early to plant most things, but it will be good to get out there and dig in the dirt and dream and think about all of those things. So that's what's exciting for me. I had a good day. Sorry, I was going to throw that pen at the cat because she was scratching on the sofa. Ignore that I thought about doing that. Or realized that I thought about doing that to stop her so that I didn't have to scream at her while I was recording with you. I had a good day. I talked to a lot of people and got worship things ready for the weekend. And I had to record worship for the weekend here at my house in this studio that you're used to looking at, because they're ripping out all the floor at Black Creek upstairs and putting in new flooring, which is an excellent time for us to do that because the workers can keep their nice distance from each other and nobody's there to work on things, to walk on the floor and to disturb everything. So that's a very good thing. And I thought, because it's the beginning of a brand new month and it's May, Minerva, what are you doing? Apparently, the small one needs to say hi. She just had her dinner, so she's being a little naughty because that's what she usually does after she has her dinner. And she and Leah, the cat, have been arguing over the big blue chair. What was I saying? Oh, because it's the very beginning of a new month and it's May, it seemed like the perfect time, don't you think, for a Christmas story. So I have to put the Minerva down. She says bye. Maybe. Oh my goodness, we're having a lot of trouble with kittens today. Hey, no biting of the mother. Okay, so sorry about that. Seems like the perfect time for a Christmas story, and this is one of my favorites. It's called A Wish for Wings That Work, an Opus Christmas story by Berkeley Breathed. That's Opus. He's a penguin, and you may not recognize him because he is a penguin from a comic strip from the newspapers from a very, 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 very long time ago, like 1990, when I was younger. So that's Opus, and he is a lovely penguin. So A Wish for Wings That Work. The dedication is a quote from T.E. Lawrence, who some people know as Lawrence of Arabia. All men dream, but not equally. It was a good morning to fly. Even if it had come late and slow and so cold that a penguin feared his nose might freeze and drop off like one of the icicles hanging over the porch. Fly, Opus whispered to himself as he ran to the top of Duck's Breath Ridge at dawn to watch the snow ducks soar above. Fly, he whispered as he lifted his wings and waited to be swept up beneath the fading Christmas moon with the other birds. But it was on mornings such as this that Opus's heart grew as cold as his nose. Penguins can surely say the word fly, but he cannot do it. There's the first picture. That's Opus. And here he is, watching the other birds. A bird with wings that won't work, Opus growled to himself. What good is that? What good am I? I might as well have been born a snail or a slice of Melba toast. One day, during lunch, he climbed the statue in the park and offered to share his last pickle with the penguins. But they just rolled their eyeballs around and moved away. "It is not our pleasure," they sniffed, "to share pickles with birds whose wings do not work." And here he is on the statue, offering a pickle to the pigeons. "If my wings will not lift me, I'll find something that does," thought Opus. He heard a man screaming on TV about a new product everyone should own called a flap-o-matic. Opus quickly ordered one. When it arrived, he put it together and hoped everything was right, since the instructions were in a different language. Opus carried it up to Vulture Gorge, strapped it on, and wound up the rubber band. Stepping to the edge, Opus looked down to the bottom 3 miles below. "Yow!" he gulped. He sighed, walked back home, and spent the rest of the day cooking anchovy Christmas cookies, which wasn't nearly as dangerous. Here he's getting his box. And here he is testing out his flap-o-matic. And then Opus knew what he should do. That night he sat in front of his warm fireplace, considered his words carefully, and wrote an important letter. "Dear Santa Claus, in the past I have asked for a scarf that would last. I have wished for new skates or some herring rum cakes. But since my wings sputter, at those times they should flutter, I thought you should know I need wings that will go." Here he is. And here he is in front of his fireplace, writing his letter, with Amelia Earhart in the picture right there. After mailing his Christmas wish, Opus congratulated himself that a penguin could be so clever, and he immediately went up to Duck's Breath Ridge to practice takeoffs. "Santa Claus will be bringing me new wings," announced Opus to a passing snow duck. "I shall be flying on Christmas morning." There he is practicing his takeoffs. I'm not sure the other snow ducks think that he's going to be able to do it. Christmas Eve soon arrived, and after leaving a note of welcome to Santa Claus in the fireplace, the penguin, whose wings would not work, tucked himself into bed. He burrowed down deep in his thick quilt, curled his knees up to his chin, scratched his nose one last time, and as a flock of snow ducks drifted silently across the full Christmas moon, closed his eyes. "Fly," Opus whispered to himself just before falling asleep. "I'll be flying on Christmas morning." And then he was snoring. Here's his house. And here he is, all tucked into bed. Look, there, above the hills, above the clouds, a soft glow, growing brighter, closer. What was it? It was much too early for the sun. Maybe it was a duck with a flashlight. listen, sleigh bells ringing. Ducks don't wear sleigh bells. What? It was him, of course, and with the thunder of hooves, Father Christmas himself burst through the midnight clouds. There are the ducks. I like the idea of a duck with a flashlight, though. And there's Santa coming through the clouds. On over the countryside, Santa's sleigh swooped and glided and zoomed and... Wait! There was a bump. A little thump. Probably just some bumpy air. Or maybe not. Something was not right. A small piece of the harness had broken away. The reindeer flew on, but Santa's sleigh plummeted like a meteor toward the lake. There's the broken harness. And there's Santa and the sleigh falling into the lake. Hello! Wake up! Emergency! A voice hollered. Who's jumping about on my bed? Asked Opus, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. A snow duck was holding a light over Opus and looking very upset. Catastrophe! Calamity! The duck hollered. A considerable setback. Please follow me. Opus sighed and guessed that the milkman had slipped and gotten his head stuck in the porch railing again. He crawled out of bed and stumbled outside behind his midnight intruder. Here's the duck knocking on the door. And here's the duck waking Opus up. There, said the snow ducks, and they pointed to the dark lake. They lifted the little penguin so he could see better. Opus could just make out something. A lantern out on the water? A big man with a white beard standing atop a sleigh that was teetering, rocking, and sinking? Opus gasped in horror. It's going to be okay. Down the snowy bank, Opus scampered, a flash of black and white as he hit the water. With a roar, a shimmering curtain of spray erupted behind the rushing missile. It held in the air for the longest seconds, catching the moonlight before falling. Toad frogs leaped, catfish jumped, and Opus flew. Strong and fast through the icy water, a wonderful, roaring, graceful torpedo sailing through the darkness. He was swimming and swimming. After all, it is what penguins do best. And here he is. There's the spray. There's his little penguin self swimming. And frogs and catfish all jumping. There, whispered a snow duck from the water's edge. Look, there, he said, pointing now, for something was moving toward them. It was Opus, and he was pulling that great Christmas sled and all the toys through the freezing water with the reins in his teeth. There was a great sloshing and frothing and laughing. Somebody was laughing. Out from the sleigh, a deep voice of good cheer drifted in over the water. Ho, 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 ho! It rumbled faintly. Ho, 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 go! There's the ducks. And here is Opus. Meet Santa. Opus stumbled, exhausted, onto the dock. His arms ached, and it hurt to breathe. He noticed many eyes watching him, and he tried his best to straighten his soggy red bow tie. He had brought the sleigh safely to shore. The reindeer were waiting there, patiently. The large man in the red suit approached, grasped his hand, and shook it gently. Santa's wide, pink face came down close, and his whiskers brushed Opus's ear. Opus noticed his kind eyes, one of which winked softly. "I see no penguins here," Santa whispered, "whose wings only sputter. Tonight it was courage that flew yours beyond others." He whirled, and with a snap of a whip and a hearty laugh, he and the sleigh sailed up toward the stars. There's a soggy, exhausted penguin. And here he is, shaking Santa's hand. Opus awoke Christmas morning and stumbled sleepily to the door. But he found something besides the morning paper outside. He rubbed his eyes in disbelief. There on his front porch and spreading out across his lawn and down the street were hundreds, maybe even thousands of smiling snow ducks. And each and every one wore a little bright red bow tie. Two of the ducks took hold of his arms and led him outside, where slowly at first, and then faster, they all began running and flapping their wings. "What's going on?" said Opus, but he already knew, for his feet weren't on the ground anymore. Over the street and above the houses, those ducks carried Opus until they were way, way above Duck's Breath Ridge. Down below, people looked up, for they could hear a voice somewhere above the clouds. It was a penguin whose wings didn't work, laughing because he surely was flying on Christmas morning. There's all the little ducks in their bow ties. You ready? Here's Opus flying! The end. One more picture of his flying gear and his bow tie on his chair. My friends, some of us can fly, or swim, or run, or jump, or read stories, or color pictures, or paint, or think, or fix cars, or dream, or balance checkbooks, or cook dinners, or teach, or all kinds of things. We can't all do everything. We can't. There's just no way. And if everybody could only do one thing, it would be a very boring world indeed. Because if everybody was a pastor person like me, who would fix our cars? Or our sinks? Or teach our kids? Or do all of those other things that are so very, very, very important? So, you probably don't look like anybody else. And you probably don't think like anybody else. And you have gifts that are just yours. And the world needs them just the way you are right now. You don't have to soar like the snow ducks if you're built like a penguin. Maybe you can fly through the water to rescue Santa. And we need snow ducks too. We need everybody. The world isn't whole without all of us. So I want you over this weekend to think about being the best penguin you can be, if you're a penguin, or the best whatever. Be you. Be all the you are with all of your passion and your excitement and your joy for things. So be you, because that's exactly who the world needs. It's exactly who I need. And remember how very, very, very much I love you. Bye-bye.